Hello and welcome back to part 10 of this Scriptcase by Jamie mini little session of how to develop yourself a nice little platform or starting point, whatever you like, because essentially you could use what we are putting together or have been putting together over the last 10 videos as a starting point or even a complete platform. So we have here grid clients, grid companies. We have also just added a control email form, and we still have lots here to do. So let's continue. We want to dive in, and I'm sorry, the birds are all of a sudden getting really close today. And yeah, we just got to put up with the noise of them, I'm afraid. So let's see where we are. So with our control form, we had just added our email passing or the link passing. So I can add anything in here now and it will add it here to the to field. Of course, this will give us an error because it's not an email, but we do need to also make sure it's defined as an email because we haven't done that yet either. So let's do that first of all. Here, and as I was saying before, instead of accessing here the individual fields, and that's what I get for having a coffee, Scriptcase logs you out. Okay, so let's find our project again here, project 1, and of course we will need to open the applications again. So let's just open here the client control email, and we were about to come here to the edit fields. Now we can change here the field type to email for both of these fields much faster than changing the individual fields here. And you see now they are as email, so now they will also be validated as email. Okay, so now that we have that, let's actually continue with this and finish off this email form. Of course, we want it to work, right? So let's come in here and add a validate on success or on validate success. Could actually even add this on validate. Let's place it there. And on validate, we want this to be able to send an email. And we have the option here, send a simple email. So I will just choose that. And here I will adjust a few settings. We see here straight away, we have a few settings here that we can actually apply to our database table. For instance, the SMTP server, the username, the password. These are extra fields that we could add to our settings table if we wanted to. Maybe we can look at that later on. But for now, let's just adjust this. So here it will change here to my field. That now needs to be email to, email from even. And then here the next field here will want to be our email to. Like so. And then we have here our subject, and that is of course our subject field. So let's add that in there also. And then we have here our message, which remember we are using a HTML editor. So we want to change here the email format from T to H so that as it indicates, it uses HTML. Now there's no need for copies or anything else. And again, we can use here the port settings and everything later on, maybe add them into our database instead. Okay, so that is it. Our form will now send. There is really nothing else to do other than, of course, add here your custom server settings, or as I've shown you already, add them into the settings table. Or of course, you could be a Scriptcase by Jamie member, and in that case, you'll be able to download this project, and in a upcoming version, it will for sure all be in the database. For now, not, I'm afraid. For now, we are nearly finished with this first part of this project because, yeah, it's like I said, we can use it as a starting point. I guess everybody missed that straight away at the get-go. Did you? Let me know in the comments. Did you realize that at the beginning of all of these videos? Let me know in the comments. Because, of course, this project can become more than what it is. So we will be adding a lot more functionality to this and more features. But for now, let's go ahead and generate all of our applications. get everything up to date, and make sure that everything we have is in order. All of the language keys are in place. We have nothing missing here and there. And of course, then we still want to add a little functionality to this before we finish up. And before any of that, let's jump into the menu. I will actually remove now the blank application as well as the form clients and companies. And then here, and before I change that, I will save the menu, because those that use the menu, they are in the know. You are better off saving all the time. Okay, so now I've done that, I'm going to click away off the screen. Always do that as well, okay, because otherwise, yeah, you don't want to get things confused. In the menu application is really the worst of them all. Thank you very much, Scriptcase, for spending so much time and hard work on developing a new one, or adding a new one, and testing many others before that, because yeah, I heard those stories. They're great. Okay, so then we have here our companies, and that's all we really want to do here. We could, of course, add maybe some icons. So yeah, let's add some font or some icons in here. So we have here, first of all, clients, right? So let's find users, because there is some business guy dude here that we can use for our clients. There we go. And of course, maybe you want to change the icon color. For the hover color, I'm going to change it for the hover, so it's a nice orangey, like I always like. Let's go with that. There we go. Now we do, and that will then change the icon color on hover, which we will see in a moment, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this color, and then come here to the company's menu option, and again choose here text and icon font awesome. And this time let me search for a house. I don't want a house, I actually want a building, because we can use one of these which looks like an office. Of course, we could choose one of yes, go with a mosque. No, it's not a mosque, but it's not a hospital either. I wish there were more building options than just what we have, you know, even though I love really some of these. These are really cool. Okay, so we'll just choose the standard office looking building that we have there. Save that. And don't forget to add here the hover color, so it's the same as the other one. And I think I just went to generate there by accident. Okay, so let me close that. Make sure that it's saved there. Yes, that is saved. We can run that again. And now we have here our clients. And we see the icon now change color on hover, which is really nice. And of course, we have then our grid. And the icon is also applied here within our tabs, which is nice. Now, you may want to get rid of this, because it's really up to you. In some cases, I like to have it, and in some cases, not. So in this case, I think I will leave it there and let you decide, because right now, really, it's easy enough to go from one to another and so forth. So in this menu, I also actually want to apply that header and footer that I had created previously at the beginning. And there, remember, we had there the column 1 logo and the column 2 title. If you don't remember that, I think that was back in video 1 or 2. I was thinking of maybe adding it to the forms. And of course, we can still do that. Maybe as we continue, we will add more headers and footers, or possibilities, to the applications that we continue to add to this project. Okay, so right now I need to add here my logo. So I want to add here an image. And of course, I will choose the logo that I had uploaded previously. So I come here to Project, General Images. I should have that here. And there I have the dark and the light option. So I guess I'll go with the dark one. And then here on the right, I have then here a value that I can place here. And what I want to do as a value, I want to actually place a global variable here. So here I will place in here the user, or let's go with USR, and then we go login, and that would essentially then display the username of the user. But we could actually change that and display our own. So let's display our own, display user. Let's use that. And let's save that. And then here in the events, on execute or on load, so again, we could actually play it, because we're using a global variable. We could actually grab it, you know, from the database or whatever else. And here we have then the global variable applied. And of course, I want to actually apply this here on application init first. So let me add it there. So on application init, this equals nothing. So when the application loads initially, there is no user, and then here at this point is then when we actually add it. So now user login, if I now run that now, we have then the variable displayed here. Okay, so we may want to actually change this, and we have here the global variable displayed and the login. Well, yes, I thought maybe we would want to use the light logo instead. So let me change that then here to the light logo. There we go, add selected, run that again. And now we have then the light logo there with our header and the menu, of course, and our client application who we can send emails to. And yes, we're not done there yet. Before we finish up with this video, there is still something that I want to add here, and that would really be maybe the option that when we view this user, then we also have a button here to email this user. That's a good one, isn't it? So let me come back here to our home. Now that the menu's done, I can actually close that. And here for our form clients, I want to add a new button in here. It's up here in the toolbar, but it's not here in the toolbar where we add the buttons. It's actually down here where it says buttons. So I come there, go new button, and then I can choose the type of button that I want to create. So in this case, I want to create a link application, okay? Because I want to connect this form to the control form and at the same time pass some data. Right, and the data is available within this form. Okay, so that's important to note. So let me go then here, client underscore email. So we define the name of this button. We say it's a link. We click create, and it tells us, oh, it can't be the same as an existing field. So then we will call it button underscore email, and then go create. Okay, so now I have my button here, and it's gone and created me a JavaScript button. Nice. Okay, so I need to delete that. And now let's see if Scriptcase is going to be friendly enough and let me create a new one. That was nice, changing that. Okay, so button email, link, create. And now we have our link button, because of course you see the difference. Previously we just had the box at the bottom here where we can add our custom JavaScript code. And in this case, we have here the link button instead, which allows us then to link this button to another application. Okay, so here I will then change the name of this button. And again, because we are using languages, I better open up that application language and maybe create a general button here, or check here the client email, see if we have one here, and I think this one here will do just fine for the send email. So I will come back here to the form clients and paste that in there. Remember to encapsulate that with its curly brackets, otherwise the language will not be displayed. Now for the preview, ignore the preview. Okay, this is just the label, and that will be very different. Now I want to also change the color or style of this button, and we have some different button styles or themes that I can apply here that are available with this Rhino theme. And yes, you need to add some more, you need to create your own, or of course you could just use one of those that is available here. So in this case I'm going to use this one, the Sweet Alert. Okay, it's what's available right now, and I will then choose here to add a font awesome icon. First of all, just to make sure there's no confusion with the email, I will actually add an email icon in there as well. Look at that. And then we can go ahead and link that. It tells me, yes, there's unsaved changes because I haven't saved. Just go OK. All right. And now it's actually going to pass me to where I can choose the application to which I want to link that button to. And in this case, it is once again the control client email form. So I would choose that, and now I can choose the values that I want to pass. Okay, so we had here the client email, which was the field which we have selected already, and that is then the client email field. The email from, well, this has no value, so we make sure that is defined as no value. We can then go ahead and confirm that, and then we can choose how we want this to open. Now, because it's in a form, well, maybe you prefer to have it in a modal window. So let's open that in a modal window. I'll give it a width of, say, 650, and say a height of, well, I'll give it a height of 800, not 8,000. And we have then the choice to close it after update or insert after update or whatever else. And of course, there's no delete here. There is no update. There is no insert really. So we can remove those or leave them. And then we can just save that. So if I now go ahead and run my form clients, we're going to have our new button there. Big fat send email button. You cannot miss it. Look at that. So we have that now there. And if I click that, it opens up the form with the from field, and the to is there somewhere as well. It shouldn't be up there hidden away. That is really wrong. So let me come back in here to the button email, adjust here the link, and I'll just go next because it should be selected already. So I guess there's some bug or change that's happened recently. So I'll just go next again, selecting that application, and again, no value. The fields is the email address, confirm that, and then here we can again adjust that. Now that is of course one way of doing that. Now let me save that. So I'll save and then run that again. Now it's important. That was a pretty silly way of actually me going and doing that now, okay? Because I didn't have to do that. What I had to do really was come here to application links, and then I have this link that I have created with this button, as well as all other links. So any link I create within this application will be available here. So instead of going through that gruesome process that I just did for this button to make that silly little change, I could have just come here to application links, click here on properties, and that would then allow me to adjust here the height. So if I need to change it again, that is what I will do. I won't go through here the buttons again. That was really silly. There's really no need to do that. Okay, so if I now go ahead and click on send again, we now have our to, and it looks much better now. It's nearly perfect height look. I couldn't have got it better. And of course, we still need to add a button in here because I did say in the last video about adding templates, didn't I? Yeah, well, I don't think we'll be doing that in this part of the series, but now that is something that will be applied within the next part of this series. So we still have a few things that we want to apply here, or features, should I say. I keep saying things, and I keep choosing these simpler words to explain things. And yes, it's just a force of habit. Okay, so we have our form open then, and of course we have all our fields defined, we have our subject there, and we could just go ahead and cancel that now, and we are back at our form again. So just like that, I could add a nice button here, email this client really quickly, because of course I'm in edit mode here, and if I go to add new, the button is not displayed. Okay, so it's not there just by default now because of the way we just set that up. There is no need for it. So in this case, the button's not there. It's great. It's fully working. We can make further adjustments to this if we wanted to add a hint, a confirmation message, and so forth. But I don't think we really need to do that. We will add some notifications and things to this as we go on within this project. But yeah, for now, let's have a look at where we are within the overall scope of the applications that we have so far. And to do that, of course, well, we need to jump here into our processes, our planning, our idea. So we have here our ideas. We didn't add in here the email sending. So let me add that in here. Email sending to clients. Maybe we could add that also to the companies later. We'll have to see about that one. And what else do we have? We have then also the storage of portal settings, right? Okay, so I'll add that there. I'm actually going to change the font of this one to something a bit more serious, and move that down here. And then we have one more. Let me choose a different font for that. I'll go with Chewy and Chewbacca after all. And for this, we had then the email. Now we have the email sending there already, but we have the email form / templates. Okay, so we need to plan this out, of course, for our next session. So we actually continue adding that in there, and maybe just add here what we are storing. Storage of settings required for email platform clients Yeah, I won't add no more because otherwise I'll be giving too much away. So for the email form templates, we have our form already. And then we need to have, so let me adjust that for form email send email. Okay. And then we also need to have an extra form and grid for our templates. Form and grid for the templates. Okay, so that is important, of course, and with that we will be storing those relevant details that we had, of course, added here before. So we haven't added anything here for what is needed. We did add it here to the database, so we can just go ahead and pretty much copy here the defaults, and I'll add that in here, and here we go, email functionality, there we go. And let me just adjust that down here. So sometimes I can spell. Okay, so we have our default template, title, description, subject, message, and status. And that is, of course, added there. Now, we had also added that we want to have a log of these emails sent. Log of sent emails. So we still need to add that. So I want to add that before anything else, really, before we finish up. So let's go ahead and jump back. Well, let's check the rest first. So we'll save, check our storage. We're good here. Email templates. We need here also a log then for our email templates. So let me add that in here. Email log. Okay, and this will then, of course, store pretty much the same as our email. So we will have the to, the from, the subject message, as well as we can keep a status there as well. It helps if I spell to correctly. And we want to add those then into our database. So let me save that. Our sitemap, well, you know, that's pretty much still the same. We have our processes here, and not much has changed there either. So let's dive into that. I think the templates will leave that for the next session. Otherwise, we're going to end up being too long. And of course, well, there is no time limit, right? There is no time limit. That's the beauty of this one. I could just keep yapping all day long, and yeah. Okay, so we have our processes, they're pretty much good, and our sitemap, like I say, everything there is pretty much right. We need to now create our email log within our database. So let's jump back into here, our database, and create our email log, which we have already created. Yippee-doo. So that's awesome. We can then actually just continue on with our application here. So we have here our control client email. We can come then here to events. And then on validate success is when maybe we would want to insert a record into our table. So here, for instance, we want to then grab our table name. So that was email_log. Email_log. We have our fields. So did I just go email underscore? Excellent. So let's email_to. Email_from. We have then also our subject field, subject, and also our message field. Okay, so subject. I need spelling lessons or a keyboard that works on the side. Anyway, so message, also just confirm those fields because we don't want any message errors there, error messages or message errors, and they are good. So now we need to add here our fields. So we have here also email to, so that is the same, and email from, like so, and then email subject again. So this is why you also good to use the same type of field names so that it's easier to remember them and everything else and work with them. Okay, so just like that, we've now added also a log for our emails. But we're missing an important field here. So let's come back here to our table. We have here also the create date, the send date, as well as the sender. We want to add a sender in here. We don't have no sender. So let's add here also the sender, because the email from could be somebody else, right? So let's add here the email sender, which would then essentially be the user login. Okay, we don't have that right now. For that, we would have to create a security. Okay, coming. It's all coming. Okay, so we have now our user login here. We have now all the data here. I think we can add a few more fields really if we wanted to, but I think we're good just for demo purposes. Now here we want to then adjust here our code, but first of all, let me take from my beautiful little snippets, which of course members will have access to within the project. Nicely organized, all perfectly understandable, as you can see. And all I need to do is just click it, and shazam, I have the current date and time added, or even the current date and time in seconds if I wanted to, or generate a random key, or just about anything else. I have them all nicely organized there. So to have that, you need to become a member and download this project, of course, or any other project that is created here on the Scriptcase by Jamie channel. But that's enough of that yabbering. Let's continue on and add current time. Okay, so it's always good to add comments. I didn't add comments before, but I will try and remember to add them all the time. So we have now here our fields. Now we want create date first, so let's add that here. So I'm just going to copy this here on top here and then paste that in there, and I can just enter that like so. And again, so we have then our, I forgot the field again, talking too much, create date, send date. So let me add then here, create date. And did I go capital letters? Yes, excellent. So create date, and that is then here our current date. Okay, and then the send date, well, we have actually just sent it, so really that is the same date. So what I'm going to do actually is leave the create date and change that here to the send date. Okay, of course, double D, and that then we will remove here the create date, and we'll see about maybe adding here then later on the option to store it as a draft, which is kind of a nice feature, I guess. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and run that. That should then add then the current date and time into our table. And of course, now we have Santa Claus in a database, and I'm sending to the same person. And now we have then our log added here. That is pretty much done. We have no errors there. Of course, it doesn't actually trigger until after the email is sent. So that's very important. We need to add these email details first. And then from there, that would then, of course, send the email, process the rest of the form, and then add the log into the database. Now, there is one important thing that I want to do here, and that is really finish off this process. Okay, so I want to choose here the SC commit, and that will then commit this transaction. And then typically what I do is I add a redirect. Now, because we have this opening in a window, maybe it's not such a good idea, so we will have to see about that. So for now, I'll just leave it like so, and then of course the transaction will be processed, the data will be inserted, the email will be sent, everything will be honky-dory. Okay, so now we have that pretty much done. Let's return back to our first application. I can leave that as outdated right now. And let's see here. So we have our clients. We have here now the send functionality. I can cancel that. I can edit a client. I can send a client email. And there again, we see that we have a slight issue because of my screen size, that is. Of course, I have to zoom out now. And then that I can view beautifully. Okay, so let's check then here the companies. And here we also have, so maybe we can add the export functionality. At the moment, this is all the default Scriptcase export that's enabled here, and we can look at that later. And at the same time, we may want to add here the possibility to also email the company and not just the client, or email the company support. But all of that is something we will be looking at within the next part of this series, or this project, should I say. So that is it for this video, I'm afraid, as well as this session. I hope you've learned something, and of course there is still more to come. This is just the start of this project, because right now it's really just a client company management, very basic insert, update, delete, send them an email platform, which I think that is already pretty cool. And of course, you see it looks awesome. It's very easy to use. And of course, you could add and continue with this within your own environment or platform, or use this as a starting point. Learn from it. Add more functionality. We can add more features to this, which is something, of course, we will be looking at within the next series of these videos. So make sure you join the membership. And if not, of course, please follow along. I hope you learned something from the video. That is the prime intention. And of course, have a great day until the next video.